Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next chapter of MSP Business School. With me, as always, I've got Rob Rogers and, of course, Tim McNeil. And Tim, I think we have to say happy birthday to you today. So,
yes,
man.
Thank you.
Tim McNeil, Tim has finally
I'm on
crossed
the other
over.
side.
He's crossed over to being a young old man. I'm the old man here. So today we've got a real special guest I'm excited to chat with. I want to introduce to everybody Guy Walton. Guy Walton is the principal over at CAMO, but let me tell you, he's had quite the backstory in his career as well. CAMO really focuses on cybersecurity. They're really going to be helping the community in terms of doing assessments, compliance, really looking at detail and looking at some of those large scale cyber events that happen out there and how customers can better combat those. So with that, Guy, I'd like to say hi and welcome.
Hey, hi.
Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me. This is my first ever podcast, and I'm excited, but I'm also nervous, and I'm going to try not to get in the pulpit like a good Southern preacher.
That's all right. You know, sometimes when it comes to security, we got to scream loud and proud because our customers like to talk about it, but they don't like to listen.
Very true. Very true.
So with that, Guy, you know, why don't you kick off and tell us a little bit about your background and, you know, how you got started in cyber and what brought you to us today?
Hey, that really is a full up story. And this journey began basically when I was in the military. I spent almost 14 years in the military, about 11 of it at a divisional level operational with the 82nd 2nd Infantry Division, the 25th Air Assault Light in Hawaii. And the Army, in its infinite wisdom, said, hey, you have an engineer degree, you're going to research and development. And I said, oh my Lord. But it was one of the best times of my life because it kind of validated that I was pretty smart. Not tooting my horn, but not in the numbers in a deal. It was the interaction, the ability to take complex things and give them to the layman's and say, hey, this is why this is important. But 2 years after, as luck goes, I became an FBI agent. And 21 years later, I thought they were going to put me in the drug squad, kicking in doors, putting hands on people. I'm going to be a SWAT. No.
They said, young man, sit at a desk.
The desk you go.
And for those of you who can remember NIPSI, the National Infrastructure Protection Center Squad, and Homeland Security and all these things with key asset, we started that when we came in 97 and 98. And that career started in the FBI with cybersecurity, catching those ankle biters and those strip kitties. We didn't really know what we were doing, but the FBI was smart by putting a bunch of technical guys together. We figured it out. Some of the cases we worked in Dallas ran from taking down a hacker group called Global Hell. Now, this group was kind of unique. They weren't doing it for money. They were just doing it for the props. They were doing it for just the, hey, we can do this. We can take you down.
The worst kind of hacker.
Yeah, that is the worst. Yeah.
Internet America was great. They allowed us to come into their systems, learn how system administration worked, learn how they ran security, identify their problems. Me and about 4 of my other squad mates, we would rotate in from midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, just learning because we wanted to do it right. And we learned so much, but I came away with 3 things in Dallas, working Internet America hacks, the AOL hacks, the Microsoft intellectual property thefts. We even recovered the Pentium 4 chip, that prototype chip that was stolen in 97. And that was all because of the relationship. And I'll cover that little thing real quick because it's funny. But because of the relationship we built. And that's what small companies like mine can do. Out of experience and the relationship that we build ahead of time, will help secure your company. And get back to the Intel chip. The Intel lab got broken into in Los Angeles. The crooks contacted Cytex in Dallas and wanted to sell it. They said they would sell it for $75,000. Okay, we're brand new agents. We had 2 senior agents. They were literally directing us with some unique words because we didn't know what we were doing. But we got it done. We got $75,000 from the feds. And I'm gonna tell you, $75,000 is pretty heavy. It's nice, nice heavy. So we took that and we made the change, and the senior engineer from Intel came there, said, verified that it was his product. And when the SWAT team took the guy down, it was an emotional experience for him and
an emotional experience. That's a great.
That's a very polite way to say it.
So working with FBI was really, really a learning experience. We had a great time. I moved to Mobile, Alabama, and learned about the asymmetric threat. The advanced persistent threat was so clear there because Mobile, Alabama, there's 150,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. But the domain in Mobile was great. 2 defense contractors. Then right up the road, English Shipbuilding that was building our naval ships. Austin, Mobile Aeros Engineering that was repairing all of our jets. The Coast Guard Naval Flight. And they were being hit globally. And I come back again, the relationship that we built with those industry, we contributed to their security. Now, and then I got promoted, for some reason, they took more interest in me and sent me to Washington, D.C., where I really understood a little bit more of how the government works and why they do the things they do. Some of the things that industry and small business and the public sector would tap into that these intelligence agencies are putting up, they would do a lot more. Just last week, the FBI and Homeland Security issued a cybersecurity advisory about the AP the advanced persistent threat. Not only did they issue the advisory, they gave you a list of things that were pertinent in those attacks. And yes, the cure that they gave was everything we know today, from making sure you do a good risk assessment, making sure you have a good plan to back up your information from ransomware. Educate your people, educate your people, educate your people.
And that's really the biggest problem. I mean, we're seeing that heavily in the MSP space now. One of the hottest items going on is really getting integrated into the clients with security awareness training, because the biggest threat is the inside, right? It's not as much the outside anymore. And sometimes it's just pure old negligence, not even, with malicious thought that these breaches are happening. So not surprising. I mean, you look back at security, and I always say security never goes out of style, right? No matter how technology changes, it always exists. But, since day one, it's been have a good backup. Don't open up things that you shouldn't open up. And yet here we are 20 some odd years later for me, and we still got people hitting the wrong links. Come on, but I have a Citibank card, so that charge could have been mine. I'm like, no, man, just look at the headers.
Yep.
So
That
anyhow,
happens so much all the time.
Guy, I know you got some other good stories. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think we need another I love you virus incident for the world. Just like the pandemic has taught us that we can operate in a remote environment, which that's another subject in itself.
Yep.
I was in the Pentagon, and I got through working out, went down to the basement where my little hole was, and I started my computer, and I saw an email that says, "I love you." I was like, "Oh, somebody loves me." Sudden, the screen went blank, and it says, "Do not touch your computer. We have an issue." I was like, "What?" The "I love you" virus changed how America and the world looked at email.
I think people forget how those viruses, it was like a year where it was just a string of I love you. Then it became the Melissa. It was like every time you turned around, we couldn't combat these viruses. And even though they still exist, technology caught up on containing them, right? Started saying, oh, hey, that rule kind of looks like that rule, so we're just going to stop that. And but I remember, and I'm sure you do too, Rob. I'm not sure about you, Tim, as the young guy here.
Okay, all right.
But I'm sure, Rob, you remember that period where every week it was like there's a new virus and everybody was panicked.
Oh yeah.
God,
It was crazy times.
Well, even Rob, even back when we were still in the MSP space, man, it was our clients were getting nailed left and right.
All the time.
That was just what, 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
I mean, yeah.
And it used to be expensive for those small to mid-sized customers to get those things fixed because, my guys would be in there for 4 or 5 days to clean up a virus, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it was ugly stuff even at the small level. So, Guy, I know a lot of what you and I have personally talked about, it's really been around compliance and governance efforts for security programs. You've got a little story to maybe share with us about a big bank out there and some challenges they had.
Oh my Lord. Our good friends at Wells Fargo.
Not to call out names or anything, but
Yeah.
anyhow.
It's public knowledge.
Nope, no doubt.
Our good friends at Wells Fargo, on an academic level, they did everything that was wrong in the manual, from good governance, the inclusion of security at the beginning of the operation. Not only did they fail with the basis of the digital and the individual controls, the insider threat, they had to pay $3 billion with a B, if you miss my southern drawl, $3 billion in civil fine because of governance.
Oof.
The CEO ended up paying $1.7 million out of his own pocket because the scheme that they pulled was forcing the associates to open up accounts under true name customers.
Yep.
If you had controls in place digitally that says, here are the things that's supposed to do. You're supposed to have the ID. If you open up a new control, you have to have a verification. Those things have to be in place if you're going to protect your industry, protect your business, protect your livelihood. And it just fails all the time, starts with good governance. And I have the Guy Walton 3-thumb rule of good security. And that 3-thumb rule is the right hire. Make sure that individual has the skill set that you need.
Mm-hmm.
The right policies and procedures. That policies and procedure means that you put in place things such as your agreement to use my network system with onboarding. You will be amazed at the number of cases that we had in the FBI where companies were saying, well, this engineer violated his policy by going into this server and downloading these specs. A lot of defense contractors, and I won't call their name, but you never had them sign an agreement to tell them that they couldn't go. Those policies and procedure must be in place. And then the third rule, third thumb, have the right person to monitor the previous two. Guy Walton 3-thumb rule. Because if you have the right person monitor with integrity and good policies and good procedures, you're well than 80% there.
And you've really touched upon something there because, as MSP guys, we certainly get the concept of monitoring. We're always talking about monitoring machines and monitoring for abnormalities. But once you introduce that human element, in the case of Wells Fargo, that human element is where a lot of it starts, right? Greed. And these programs that had a loophole that these sales reps were able to expose, but should have been caught earlier by the banking through controls, right? These guys were just opening up accounts for everybody with no money. That's the more amazing part. So they could then get commissioned, right? You'd think that would have just thrown up a red flag, but it's tough to get those controls in place sometimes.
When it's 3 million accounts, as my kids used to say when they were little, a clue, a clue.
Yeah.
It is just that
3 million accounts. Yep.
No money. Everybody got spiffed.
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, and
It comes back to the good policy. One, I don't know if I can say the company's name, but it was a telecommunication company, major company, that had great policies and procedures. They dismissed one of their top engineers. When they dismissed him, the night they decided to terminate him, they cut his access. He called in at midnight saying, "Why can't I get in?" "Well, come in tomorrow morning, sir, and we will see what the problem is." When he showed up, the sheriffs were there, the chief operating officer, HR, and his supervisor. When he walked to the door and saw the sheriff, he knew what was up.
yep.
He tried to say, "Hey, I'll be right back. I need to go to my desk and get a pad."
Throw up.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that happened later. Went to look for the router that he had just dropped off the network. And look at your face, Rob. You saying, "You got to be kidding me." No, he placed the router on the network so he can log in from home.
Wow.
Next, the telecommunication company has such a good policy that the employees signed an agreement to allow the company go into the house and remove their equipment from the house. That's why the sheriffs were there, as well as if he decided he wanted to go, left or right.
Yeah. That's a nice
Yeah.
way of saying what could have
Yeah.
happened, right?
They escorted him home. They searched his house. They pulled all of his equipment out. Oh, by the way, we had a couple of agents there. You know, we weren't undercover, but we weren't telling people who we were.
Yeah.
Took all of his equipment that belonged to the company, and those things that they couldn't determine that didn't belong, in their policy said that they could take it, review it, and return it. Well, not only did the company review, we also. There were an indictment following after that. So
Wow.
good policies and procedures work.
So Guy, now you're taking all this knowledge and all this experience you got, and you're really trying to apply it to the small regional banking area, and what are some of the things that lead you to that marketplace, right? Because you spent so much time public sector, and now we're saying, hey, obviously you don't just told us a big banking story, but what's some of the concerns you see out there for some of these smaller regional banks and credit union style folks, in terms of security?
Just like the banking area, the banking is just like small defense contractors. They're connected to the large banks, the large brokerage house. A lot of the banks now, because we're such a globalized community, they have foreign customers and foreign accounts. Right there in Mobile along the Gulf Coast from Pensacola to New Orleans, where I mainly operate, you have the 11th and the 7th largest port in the city. You have 5 major defense contractors, shipbuilding and aircraft, in along those ports. Can you imagine if you have a couple of Russian ships that come in delivering whatever under a Pakistani flag or under a Venezuelan flag for medical goods, and they open an account. The account is just to get access to their online banking in a small community bank. The community bank is going to take that $1,500 deposit you use and open that bank.
Yeah.
That's a good customer. And use online stuff to spoof and capture everything for the bank that is. And then they go look for employees that work at or near the shipyard. And it's the patience that I'll just say crooks in foreign country have with their cyber offense is remarkable, because the patient increase every little step they get in their plan. It just gives them more speed, more volume, more confidence that they can hack that company or hack that major company. But small banks also, because of their reputation, I want to help them out because all of the new requirements that they are having, we're working to set policies and procedures in place to do risk analysis for them, to help them work through that strategy to be more compliant with the SEC and the regulatories within their state, as well as the financial deal. And CAMO has that, along with our partners, VC, CISO, and some of our other financial partners. I think we have a good product that's coming out here next month.
Beautiful.
Very
So
cool.
we're getting near the end of our time, but we like to have a little fun before we wrap up. So first, let's hit the question about a little work-life balance. You know, everything can't be out there just fighting cybercrime. So what do you like to do in your downtime, Guy? How do you unwind from all this craziness?
We do a lot of camping because I have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. My wife, I'm gonna put a plug in, is on the board of directors for Girl Scouts.
Beautiful.
And we love to camp. And because I'm trying to get my my fighter figure back, I'm starting to do a lot of walking. Can't run yet because of injury to the neck, but I'm working there. About 2 more months. And I have 6 kids, so I get
that'll keep you busy.
God.
Period.
6. Really? Dude. 6.
Poor Tim was like, oh man.
Yeah, I have 2, and I'm just like, I don't know how people do more than that.
Yeah, I have 3 girls, and I thought I was at the max.
And in my opinion, you are at the max because I'm at 2 girls, and that was enough for me. I got that. Hey, you want to take one more shot at it for a boy? Nope.
Yeah.
Seems like 2 girls is my fate.
And in my neighborhood where we lived in Paris last year, they were just so comical. They was like, and I don't speak a lick of French other than "ooh la la." But everyone knew me because they say you're always smiling. Most Americans don't smile. I said, I'm living in Paris. I'm so happy. Yes, your kids are also happy. What's the secret? Balance.
Yep.
Keep things in balance. Keep things that's full. All of them are healthy. We have a roof, good food, and we love each other.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Well, we'll close things off. Who's got the speed round today?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, Tim's going to hit you with the speed round.
This is a tough one, Guy.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if your electrical engineer mind can handle this stuff.
Yeah, this is some deep stuff.
it's very in depth. Talk, text, or Teams?
Let's say again.
Talk, text, or Teams?
Teach.
No, Teams. Teams as in Microsoft Teams.
Oh. Talk.
Talk. Okay. All right. Music, movies, or TV?
Music. Classical.
Cool. Very cool.
Yellow.
What age do you want to retire?
Kids, family, and ability to enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Mac or Windows?
Mac.
Okay.
Oh.
If you were to do anything outside of tech, what would it be?
It would be teach. Ethics.
Yeah, fair enough.
I got one more for you. Airborne or air assault?
Airborne, baby.
Airborne all the way.
Yeah.
82nd.
Yeah. And I was gonna throw in Roll Tide or War Eagle.
Oh my Lord, you understand my culture. I'm gonna have to say Roll Tide only because because of the professionalism and the actual. I have a friend that coached there that played football with me at A&M.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, why don't you bring us home?
I sure will. Hey, Guy, real quick, how many jumps did you have?
Oh, I had 58.
Oh, you beat me, sir. I had 40.
Oh, good deal. Hey, it's still.
Yeah.
You got over 5, you know the deal.
That's right. Good times for sure. Hey, Guy, I really want to thank you for joining us today, man. This was definitely fun and entertaining, and learned some stuff too. Learned some stuff for sure. For anybody that wants to get in touch with Guy, his LinkedIn profile will be on the podcast. And as always, this episode will be up on mspbusinessschool.com and anywhere you get your podcast, to include now YouTube. So please go over there, check us out, subscribe. We'd love it.
Smash
Guy,
that bell, baby.
Click the bell. That's right. Guy, any closing thoughts before we break today?
Yes, to all those practitioners out there, and all those who make those business decisions, start early with your security. Please do. It makes a difference.
Yeah, the right hire, the right skill set, and the right person to monitor.
Absolutely.
That's right. As always, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciated doing this one today, and we will talk soon. Take care, everybody.
Everybody have a great one.
Have a good day.